Hello, my name is Kelly Gatewood, and this is my Module 1 about critical reflection, ethics, and professional norms. A little bit about myself. I have been married for 20 years to my husband, Scott. We have three girls. Kelsey is 11, Emily, who's 9, and Mallory, who's 5. Some of the things I enjoy are gardening, canning, cross-stitching, crocheting. I go to a lot of my kids' sports. They're involved in everything. I like to take naps, and I love watching game shows. A little fun fact about myself is I kind of wish I was Amish. I like all the stuff about Amish people, but I really don't want to be Amish because I don't want to give up my luxuries. I'm a graduate of Wichita State University. I graduated there in 2013. Ever since then, I have worked at Cedarville Schools, and so I just finished my 10th year of teaching there. I've always been the 8th through 12th grade math teacher. I'm the only math teacher that we have. We're in a really small school out in southeast Kansas. We have about 130 kids in preschool to 12th grade. Our average class size is about 10. That's a little probably on the high end. My one daughter's class has 5 in it, 4 girls and 1 boy. The other one has 6 in it. Well, they had 7, but one of them's leaving this year. So unless we get somebody new, they're going to have 6. It's comes with its challenges. Some of the challenges that I have is I have the same kids for 5 years in a row. So I really get to know my students. But if we don't mesh well, that can be a challenge because they just don't have another teacher that they can go to. I'm the only teacher that they have to take math from. So I was the co-pilot of our redesign team when we went through redesign a few years ago. I'm the math team sponsor. I'm the Stuco sponsor. And then anything else that needs to happen in our school. The first article that I went over was the difference between personal and professional ethics. And so personal ethics are personal morals and code of conduct. They are instilled in us by our parents, family, and friends. They are not conforming to them may hurt others, and personal needs are satisfied. Your professional ethics are values and principles that are introduced by a professional organization. You do not have a choice but to follow these rules, and not adhering to them may destroy your professional reputation. The second article was ethical decisions making for school leaders. Ethics should be proactive based on the positive decision making involving others. School leaders need to develop a mindset and principles to apply their own context. Schools need to determine its own framework, visions, ethos, and values to make decisions. Institutions state commitment to principles, but do not always enact them. I see this happen a lot in my school, that we have the rules, but we don't follow them. Ethical characteristics of people holding public office should be selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, and openness. Then the Ethical Leadership Commission also added to that trust, wisdom, kindness, justice, service, courage, and optimism. There are 2 types of decisions that you can be made, and neither one of them are really acceptable from an ethical standpoint. Isolation's where you make it by yourself, and consultation and collaboration with stakeholders. It's where you allow other people to help you make the decision. External pressures and risks are identified and shared openly. If pressures are high enough, they may transfer to other staff. So pressures need to achieve results or financial stability are the most common reasons people compromise their values. So trying really hard to accomplish something or for the gain of money. The next article was called Role of Ethics in Success of Students. And this is what the students should be doing to be ethical. They should have honesty and doing the right thing at the right time and always doing the best policies. And I see this happen a lot in a high school classroom where students cheat to pass exams or use unethical resources to get good marks can cause them to cave to failure later in life. So they don't see it as a big deal now, but once you do this thing, then the next thing is going to be easier to do that's not ethical. Hard work, you need to take action in order to get or do something. Respect for ourselves guides our morals, and respect for others guides our manners. Cooperation, higher moral principle than competition. Jealousy, stress, and depression can all be results of comparing yourself to others. Compassion, which sometimes we call it kindness, it's helping those that help others with their studies and personal issues are more successful. And then forgiveness, for the best revenge and defeat the evil by forgiving others. Then I read about the code of ethics for educators. So we went from students to the educators. We must have ethical conduct towards our students. We have to accept the responsibility for teaching them character qualities to help them evaluate consequences and accept responsibility for their actions and choices. We need to measure success of progress of each student as a citizen of the greater community. Ethical conduct towards practices and performance. We need to assume ownership of our own performance and strive for competence. We must accept feedback and always be willing to learn. We have to have ethical conduct towards professional colleagues, and we need to apply just and equitable treatment for everyone. Ethical conduct towards the parents in our communities. At the end of the day, we all want a quality education for our kids, and so we all need to work together to make sure we're achieving that. The next article was called Commitment to Ethical Leadership Toolkit. And the key principles of professionalism and ethical leadership for principles are personal courage, public interest ahead of self, self-control, self-discipline, and integrity, task and employee centeredness, recognizing talents, requiring high ethics from all, sensitivity and understanding, and inclusiveness. This is all that has to work together to be a good principal. What principals need to know about ethics? They need to be a role model for fairness. They need to be consistent. They need to train teachers to be responsible for their actions. They know the morses of your school community, what's expected. Know that you're always accountable for your actions, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. You don't get to take your principal hat off. Somebody's always there. You must provide supervision for students at all times. Avoid teachers being alone with students. Do not ignore situations. Require proper use of the internet. And remember that school equipment is the school's property, and you need to avoid inappropriate relationships with your students. My reflection on this is I am a huge advocate for fairness and consistency. Working with high schoolers every day, that is what they want, but sometimes it can be hard. They don't understand when someone else gets special treatment. They don't think that's fair. I've witnessed it many times from faculty at my school that they think they're building relationships with students when in reality they're just creating unfairness for others. Through the years, I've seen our handbook only be followed by certain staff members and when it is convenient for them. I need to make sure that I continue to be fair and that I'm truly being as consistent as I feel like I am. I will advocate for more professional norms by trying to get all of our staff to follow the rules and being held accountable for what they do. My concluding thoughts about how this correlates to CLO 2.1 was I was able to understand and demonstrate the capacity to promote the well-being of each student and adult in this assignment by learning the differences between my personal and professional norms that create the ethical culture that we live in. I know that we need to make sure we are doing the best that we can do, but also understand that others may not agree with us and that their norms may be different. I can apply the knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to advocate for ethical decisions by showing fairness to all, following the laws and norms that have been set, and by listening to my conscience. I need to ensure that all of my coworkers are doing the same and that we're all working towards the same goal, which is helping to mold productive and ethical members of society. The relevancy of this assignment to my learning, it was relevant because it taught me the difference between my personal and professional ethics. It taught me that they are both important and I should follow them. I also learned that we need to be aware of our actions no matter what position we are in, because we are held to higher standards than others. I have seen in my school where professional norms are not followed, and this assignment has stressed the importance of why they should be. I would like to see more of my coworkers following these norms, even though they may seem minute. Example, wearing hats in the building or taking drinks into the classroom, phone usage. But if one of us allows the students to do this, then the students think all the teachers should. If we all allow ourselves to not follow the minor rules, then how can we expect to follow the major ones that could result in major consequences? My personal reflection is I've struggled in my position connecting to some of the students. Like I said earlier, I have some of the same kids year after year after year. And when we don't mesh, that can be a real challenge. I didn't grow up in generational poverty with drug use, etc., like many of these students. It is hard for me to understand how school is such a low priority for them. Our data consistently shows that school is a low priority to our students, and that's something we're working really hard on as a school to bring up. I see it as their way out, but they just feel stuck in their community. This module has explained to me how my ethical norms are different and why sometimes we don't always see the same goal. I know I need to work on understanding their personal ethics better, and maybe we could come to a more common ground. I will need to make sure that when I am the principal, that I lead by example of what I'm expecting from my staff and students. I've witnessed many times what happens when emotions get the best of someone and they do not follow all of their ethics, and it does not go well for either side. And this is my references, and have a nice day.